Now, US President Donald Trump has threatened to impose 100% tariffs on the BRICS countries if they challenge the dollar or undercut the US currency. Trump has already rattled world markets ahead of his second term with threats to levy an additional tariff on goods from China, Mexico and Canada if they don't do more to stem the flow of illegal drugs and undocumented migrants. Ragini Sudhir Chaure reports.
America first. Drill baby drill. No welfare for illegal aliens. The United States President-elect Donald Trump has included it all in his Agenda 47. Wait, there is more to his list. Taking to social media, Trump threatened the BRICS nations not to create a new currency or support another currency that would replace the US dollar. The BRICS countries include Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran and the United Arab Emirates. The message read a clear warning with Trump's obnoxious statement, "Go find another sucker." Or else he thundered in his social media post, quote, "They will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful US economy," unquote. He rounded off his post by saying, quote, "There is no chance that the BRICS will replace the US dollar in international trade and any country that tries should wave goodbye to America," unquote. Trump's move followed a similar threat by him to impose 25% tariff on all products from Canada and Mexico entering the US, along with an additional 10% tax on goods from China. Tariffs are a central part of Trump's economic vision. He sees them as a way of growing the US economy, protecting jobs and raising tax revenue. A tariff is a domestic tax levied on goods as they enter the country, proportional to the value of the import. If you buy a product in India worth $1,400 with a 100% tariff, the product will be sold at double the price, that is $2,800 in the US. Trump has previously claimed that these taxes will cost another country, not the US citizen. However, economists say such an assertion is misleading. The charge is physically paid by the domestic company that imports the goods, not the foreign company that exports them. So in that sense, it is a straightforward tax paid by domestic US firms to the US government. A Republican Party lawmaker, Ted Cruz, called Trump's threat to impose tariffs as leverage. Already, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has made an unscheduled trip to Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in the state of Florida to head off a potential 25% tariff on Canadian goods heading south. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum, in turn, says that she plans to meet with Trump soon. Malaysia, on the other hand, says that Trump's idea to impose tariffs on BRICS countries could disrupt global semiconductor supply chains. Malaysia has applied for BRICS membership. Some, such as Scott Bessent, who is Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary, have suggested that the US President-elect's recent announcements are a negotiating tactic, meant more as an opening gambit than a promise. The primacy of the US dollar in international trade gives Washington, D.C. a number of advantages, including lower borrowing costs. For the US government, the ability to sustain larger fiscal deficits and exchange rate stability. Its stability means investors often flock to the dollar during uncertain times. The dollar also held the US wield considerable geopolitical influence, including the ability to impose sanctions on other nations and restrict their access to trade and capital. The IMF says that the dollar is the world's main reserve currency, representing nearly 60% of the world's foreign exchange reserves. Also, critical commodities such as oil and gold are still mostly bought and sold using dollars. The concept of de-dollarisation refers to reduction in the use of the US dollar in world trade and financial transactions. Globally, new payment systems are allowing cross-border transactions without the involvement of US banks, which could undermine the dollar's clout. Leading politicians in Brazil and Russia have suggested creating a BRICS currency to reduce the US dollar's dominance in global trade. But differences within the BRICS grouping has slowed any progress on that front. However, BRICS countries have agreed to facilitate more trade in local currencies, cutting their reliance on the dollar. In October, Russia's President Vladimir Putin called for a new international payment system at a BRICS summit, saying that the dollar is being used as a weapon. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says that if the United States uses force to mandate the use of the dollar, it will likely further accelerate the shift to national currencies. More and more countries are starting to use national currencies for external trade and economic activities. This is a process gaining momentum globally. This is a process of erosion of the dollar's attractiveness. It is happening and gaining momentum. The 2024 BRICS summit hosted by Russia has Western-dominated payment systems. Russia has specifically pushed for the creation of a new payment system that would offer an alternative to the global bank messaging network SWIFT and allow Moscow to dodge Western sanctions and trade with partners. SWIFT stands for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. It is a vast messaging network used by financial institutions to quickly, accurately, and securely send and receive information, including transferring funds across international borders. So will de-dollarisation work for BRICS? The grouping does not have a common currency yet, but long-running discussions on the subject have gained some momentum after the West imposed sanctions on Russia over the war in Ukraine. However, India has made its stance very clear. India's Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, says that India is not actively targeting the dollar.
I think you have us confused for someone else here because we have never actively targeted the dollar. That's not part of either our economic policy or our political or our strategic policy. Some others may have.
Interestingly, the decision to prioritize the US dollar marks a policy shift from Trump's first term when he favored a weakening of the currency to boost US exports. With Ragini Sudhir Chaure, Sagnik Chakraborty for DD India.